Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. I'm going to share with you some of the latest comments from attorney Jeremy Hogan, attorney John Deaton, and some stuff from Charles Gasparino, a Fox Business journalist, of course. And it's spawned some interesting article content all over crypto media, including this headline from the Crypto Basic, brand spanking new from today. You smell that? It's got that new crypto article smell, which is really just glue and chemicals. But anyway, the headline is, Crypto Community Sees Bloodbath If Ripple Loses Crypto Trial of the Century. Here's why. And I'll just tell you that it is completely absurd to me, completely absurd, that it's reasonable to worry about the fact that Bitcoin might be the only cryptocurrency that's allowed to be bought and sold in the United States. If the SEC actually gets its way, and you see the totality of the conclusion that the SEC quite clearly wants, it's not reasonable to think that actually could. Now, I don't think that it's going to come to that. I'm not saying I actually think it's going to come to. And there's a lot of stuff that would unfold between here right now to there. And I do not think that's actually going to hit. But what I'm saying is the fact that we can even reasonably talk about that is completely absurd to me. And then there's also this headline from you today. If Ripple loses SEC case, here's likely outcome for XRP. Attorney Jeremy Hogan. They share something that he says. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I'm not offering legal or financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, I think it's also worth noting here that if Bitcoin ends up being the only safe cryptocurrency on the entire damn planet in the United States, then it's because they don't know who to sue, they being the SEC. That's it. Satoshi Nakamoto, anonymous, therefore you sufficiently hid. Now you get to exist. That's pretty much it. So if the creators of XRP or Pick Your Crypto had been just as anonymous, perhaps we wouldn't have to have these fears, which just further illustrates his point that it's so stupid, S-T-O-O-P-I-D, stupid, that there is no path forward for somebody to create a cryptocurrency and then it ultimately reach a point where it's, it's transactions of it don't register, kind of some sort of unregistered securities transaction, which makes me think back to SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce's safe harbor proposal, which I think is on the right track. And there are other governments around the world that straight up classify various types of cryptocurrencies. And one of them isn't, we're not talking about securities here. We're talking about utilities coins, for example, like the UK's Financial Conduct Authority. So there are ways to have reasonable clarity so that you don't kill an entire damn asset class, but that's not on the radar as far as the SEC is concerned anyway. So if things don't go well in the SEC v. Ripple case, I'm going to be worrying, I don't know about you, but I'll be worried about all of my crypto, not just XRP. And I hold about 30 different coins. And I mean, I am worried about them even today, but really what I'm saying is if things don't go well here, I'll be increasingly worried, substantially more worried about all of my other coins. I understand that investing in crypto is risky, and there's a chance that even without the SEC, things go horrible for me, and perhaps I just lose everything and it all goes to zero. Okay, fine. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm just saying in theory it could. But I'm much more afraid of the SEC resulting in me hitting that $0 and 0 cent scenario. I'm much more worried about the SEC resulting in me having an entire loss of my funds compared to what the markets do. And look, again, I'm not saying I actually think it's going to come to that. It's just a shame that we actually have to talk about this. But even if things don't go well for Ripple, there's still the opportunity for appeal. And it seems to be the case that a big part of the strategy, especially in the way that Ripple lawyers wrote what they wrote, was for an appellate court, above the district court that we're seeing where Judge Torres will ultimately rule. So they're playing the long game in case it comes to that. But let me share with you what spawned this article where we're talking about a potential bloodbath, because frankly, again, it's not just the XRP community that is going to be really, really upset. It's everybody in crypto except for perhaps the Bitcoin maximalists. Although even then, there's always that wild card where the SEC actually does go and push for claims that, the miners, that's the common enterprise in the Bitcoin scheme, So you could try and satisfy the Howey test. I mean, SEC officials back in 2015 were talking about that. And then look, I don't want that to happen. I don't think it should happen. I'm not thinking that it even is likely to happen. I'm just saying that all of this is completely absurd, and we shouldn't even have to be talking about this, damn it. But anyway, so here's what spawned this. There is this comment from Fox Business journalist Charles Gasparino, and he wrote the following. Breaking. crypto community sees a bloodbath if SEC prevails against Ripple in the form of more regulations/oversight that will impact nearly every sector, including the exchange biz, given Gensler's desire to force registration of every coin but Bitcoin. We discuss now on Fox Business. So, yes, it's pretty clear that, and it's increasingly being accepted, that Gary Gensler is going to come down on every aspect of crypto. This is not just an XRP community thing. He's going to be coming after Coinbase and Binance US and Uphold. Pick your exchange. It doesn't matter. Not that they're doing anything wrong, but they're going to come after him. And every other coin on the planet. And Bitcoin gets the free pass because they don't know who to attack. That's pretty much it. Now, attorney John Deaton responded and said, if it wasn't for Fox Business, Eleanor Terrett, Charles Gasparino, Liz Clayman, and Charles Payne, much less attention would have been given to this story, which is shocking to me. Describing the Ripple XRP case as the most significant non-fraud enforcement action since 1946 is not hyperbole. That's absolutely correct. And so I understand a lot of people are out there, I don't blame you, upset with Charles Gasparino. But even if you're one of the people that's upset with him, fair enough. It's not like I'm thrilled with everything that's happened. But not to get into that thing, I just want to say, it's still very fair to recognize that despite that, if not for Charles Gasparino's decision to jump into this and bring Fox Business into this, there would be a lot less light on this story of tremendous consequence. It's unquestionably a gigantic net plus that Charles Gasparino has jumped in here. Now, attorney Jeremy Hogan responded to that same comment from Gasparino, and he said, the SEC's case was weak and ill-conceived from the start. Ripple put up the best defense money can buy. Ripple is literally the crypto community's Jet Li. If Ripple's Kung Fu is not good enough, no one's is. Okay, so that point's certainly not lost on me. Don't forget, I mean, gosh, the representation that Ripple has here. You're talking about former high-ranking SEC officials, including a former SEC chair who was an attorney who is leading the charge now on behalf of Ripple against the SEC. You know, you're talking about Brad Garlinghouse's public estimate that by the time this is all said and done, about $100 million is what Ripple will have spent, with the best firm, arguably on the entire planet, the best representation that you could possibly have. If Ripple can't pull home a win here for the entire crypto asset class, then no one was going to probably, in all likelihood. And again, I'm still optimistic that what is right shall be done here, even if to whatever degree Ripple is harmed with some sort of fine, this or that. Because to me, a true win as an XRP holder will be a path forward for XRP's existence in the United States in a way that's not going to harm XRP holders. To me, that would be the win. So even if the SEC had a technical win because Ripple was found to have, had XYZ violation, this or that, okay, fine. I think even Ripple will be happy to live with that. It's just like, give us a damn path forward here. And then an XRP community member responded to Jeremy and said, Jeremy, are you prepared to consider that all primary sales of crypto tokens between companies/producers and the exchanges they use to distribute them should be classified as securities offerings? Attorney Hogan wrote, the one thing I've learned the past 2 years is that the uses of crypto are so varied nowadays that I don't think our classification scheme makes any sense. Well, here. I bet we could probably all agree with that statement, which is why, as I was stating earlier in the video, this is just one example, but the UK's Financial Conduct Authority, they declared over there that XRP literally is a utility token. There is no such thing in the United States. There's no such classification system. That's what I'm saying. So outside of that, well, if you're not going to allow the technology to exist and you're just going to shoo it into an existing framework, then you just destroy the technology. And again, I don't think the worst case scenario happens. It's just ridiculous that we even have to talk about this. These people are the worst. Then there's this headline from you today. If Ripple loses SEC case, here's likely outcome for XRP. Attorney Jeremy Hogan. And this stems from a tweet that I was actually tagged in as well by XRP community member Michelle Nightingale, who wrote, plain devil's advocate. Anyone know what realistically happens if Judge Torres actually deems XRP to be a security? Brad Garlinghouse already said they'd move abroad. So what would be the scenario for XRP holders? Well, I mean, if you're talking about a true disaster scenario, it depends. Like if you're talking about where all appeals, everything's been exhausted, and that just is the state of things, well, then everything XRP in the United States is dead. And so what's that mean for XRP holders? I don't know. I guess I moved to a different country. I don't know. I'm not sure what I do, to be honest with you, on a personal level here. I did actually respond to her because she tagged me in this, and I wrote, I would rebrand from Moon Family Sedan to Moon Public Transportation, and that's pretty much a certainty at this point. Moon Public Transportation. Here's what Attorney Hogan had to say. He said, the U.S. accounts for 25% of world economic activity, so, as a rough guesstimate, XRP would lose, he meant to write the word lose, XRP would lose 25% of its utility, question mark. Fair guess, but I would look at it a little bit different than that. I think in terms of, well, I know, actually, let me say this. In terms of trading before the lawsuit, I know that the number was something like 90 to 95% of trading of XRP was already outside the United States. In terms of real world utility, I don't know that anybody's even tried to compile any sort of study or survey, anything along those lines to show where the utility is, and then how would you actually, like, to what degree would you weight various utility, this or that, in terms of what. But just in a general sense, we're just talking conceptually here, which I'm happy to do. In terms of where is most the XRP utility taking place, it's probably fair at this point to say outside the United States, because even before on-demand liquidity corridors were shut down, even if you just want to talk about what Ripple was doing with XRP, well, even before that, fine, but it's clearly the case that if you just look at on-demand liquidity, it continues to blow up in a very positive way. It's just, in terms of adoption, just explosive, but that's all outside of the United States. And so I don't think it really has so much in terms to do, I don't think you can just equate, here's the United States economic activity, therefore XRP is equivalent necessarily. But in terms of actual utility, I'm willing to hazard a guess here that most of it was always outside of the United States. Again, I know the trading always was, because it's a truly global, decentralized thing. But now that XRP's just been hammered in the United States, probably just about all of its utilities outside of there, and it's still hanging out in the top 10 cryptos by market cap. So I don't know, for me, I just, if it comes down to it, I'll just hold it as long as I can, and then if it's ever worth a fortune in the future, which I anticipate it will be, even if we get a doomsday scenario in the United States, my plan is just to hold on to it, and hopefully find a way to unload it at some unknown point somewhere in the future. I don't know what that's going to look like. So what does that even mean? I don't know. I'm just living through it like the rest of you guys here. Again, I don't think it's going to come to that, but it's worth talking through all this stuff here. But XRP is not going to cease to exist, and so that's the good thing. Even though I do think that if we get a disaster scenario ruling from Judge Torres, fair to presume that the price of XRP in that moment may tank. XRP is going to continue to be useful. I don't see any reason it wouldn't be. I mean, even if Ripple moves outside of the United States, which I think they would, well, they're still creating on-demand liquidity corridors. They just won't be able to create one that touches the United States if it's using XRP. So XRP would continue to get adoption that way on every other part of the world, and all the other use cases still stand. They just can't operate in a part of the world where 25% of the world's economic activity exists, which is absurd to say. But it would still exist. So I'm not actually worried as much about the long-term viability. Yes, I do think you could see a dramatic crater in XRP price if we get a disaster ruling. But for me, like, I already told you what I'm doing. And this is not me telling you to do this. You do whatever you want. I don't care. But either this thing is going to be worth a fortune in the future, at which point, when I'm sufficiently enticed, I sell it, or I ride the bitch to zero. And if XRP becomes worth zero, so be it. And my life goes on. And that would suck. That would really suck. Especially if look, if it fails because it just isn't getting traction, that's one thing. I'll live with that. But it would be really disturbing if it were because of a government agency. But I don't think that's going to happen. Not on a global scale. It could wreck stuff for us here in the United States, but man. So what a crazy time to be in crypto right now with all of this uncertainty. It'll be interesting to see how people look back on this time period once there's full hindsight. If you go like another 10 years, 15, 20 years, what will people be saying about this time? I wonder which things are going to seem obvious that perhaps aren't even obvious to us right now in terms of how this unfolds. To what degree is Kim Jong-Gensler going to have built his demon empire of complete control over the crypto asset class? We'll see. We'll see, folks. I don't have all the answers, but these are a lot of things that I've been thinking about, and those are things that the attorneys within the community have been thinking about. You let me know what you think. I'll go and wrap up here. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.